Today I'm going to be breaking down how you can use a Royal Champion charge into Dragons to 3-star any base here at Townhall 15. So here is the army composition that we are going to be using today, and honestly you can't get much simpler when it comes to the spells. You're going to be bringing a lot of invisibility spells, and that is because of course we're coming in with that Royal Champion charge, trying to get as much value as we can, coming in with those dragons on the back end. So let's jump straight in and we'll break this one down. So the first thing we're going to be doing here is identifying a couple of things. The first one being, have we got open or closed wall compartments where we're going to be funneling? This is very, very important because it's going to change up the siege machine you're going to be using. If, like this base, you have closed wall compartments, you're going to need to use a super wall breaker to open up that first compartment to get your king in. If this was an open wall compartment, then we're going to be using a siege barracks, but the fact it is a closed wall compartment means that we're going to be changing up to a Yeti blimp. This is because obviously if we drop down our siege barracks, they're not going to be able to get through this wall section. So if we go ahead and click play, the main objective here first of all is to create a bit of a funnel for our dragons. King is going to be coming in, clearing out a couple of key defenses here, one of which being the air defense. We're then going to have the Yeti blimp. That's going to be coming over here. We're going to rage it up with those Yetis, and a few balloons going to be coming out. Again, the aim here and the objective is to create a funnel while also taking care of a couple of those defenses. Once we have done that, we can go ahead and get a Royal Champion charge coming in. And of course, there's a few things to remember when you do this. Invisibility spells last approximately 4 seconds each, so try to count that in your head. Try to avoid looking at the clock. Just try to get used to that. Every 4 seconds, you're going to go ahead and deploy it the next one down. And remember, because she has those electro boots on her, of course alongside the haste vial, we're going to be trying to maximize the amount of damage she does. So don't wait until she takes down each defense. You can actually time it like we have here for her to progress through into the next defense, so the electro boots can take out the previous one in behind. So as soon as you are getting a defense onto fairly low HP, then you can start to think about that next one, drop down the invisibility spell and just let her do her thing. The main objectives with this Royal Champion charge, number one priority is going to be that Town Hall. If you can get in there and deal with the Town Hall, that is going to be absolutely spot on. We're also looking, of course, to take down scatter shots, air defenses, and inferno towers. If you can grab the monolith, that's going to be super beneficial. It's really, really deadly against dragons, but this is not always possible. Don't worry about luring out those clan castle troops either. Typically, when you're coming in with those invisibility spells, you're going to be able to protect up your Royal Champion and hopefully make those clan castle troops invisible. Bringing in the next portion of your attack, we of course have those dragons, and we have already created a funnel. You can see pretty much clearing out this bottom section, bottom right hand side of the base all the way through to the Town Hall, means that our dragons have a fairly clear path to progress all the way through to the core. Now we decide not to bring the Archer Queen on any of these attacks, favouring the Minion Prince, because actually his ability and just in general the Minion Prince ties in really, really well with this strategy. You can see the ability going to get popped off right there, freezing up some of those really important defenses like the monolith, just allowing us to get through. And when it does come to that Grand Warden, again we're going to be going in with the double tome, which in this current meta at pretty much all town halls, the double tome is very, very strong. We are of course going to see the Eternal Tome kind of nerf, if you want to call it that, fairly soon. This will have pretty much little to no impact on this strategy, because your troops are going to be staying inside that Grand Warden aura pretty much the entire time. But even if your dragons do start to split off like they do slightly in this one, the majority of the time you're still going to be able to pull through and bring in that 3-star. The Minion Prince able to get a lot of work done here on the back end. The Grand Warden of course chilling in behind, letting those dragons do their thing while also raining down a little bit of damage. But this is honestly a very, very strong strategy, but it's not one you're going to be able to pick up instantly. It's definitely one you're going to need to practice. That Royal Champion charge, if it goes wrong, you're going to waste a lot of spells, so it's definitely worth trying to master it. Of course, as always, if you would like to pick up the link for this army composition, there is a link for it down in the description below. So progressing through onto that second attack, there's a couple of things to bear in mind with this one. The first of all being we have open wall compartments. You guys will see pretty much these open wall compartments here, all these kind of stuff means that we can actually switch from a blimp to a siege barracks. This is because the siege barracks actually tends to work slightly better than the blimp. The blimp you're not going to be able to get too much, whereas the siege barracks you of course have all the P.E.K.K.A.s, the wizards coming out first, and then you also have your clan castle troops coming out behind. But we're going to be kicking off here with a few rocket balloons over on that left hand side, cleaning out some of those defenses. Now remember, your royal champion is a defensive targeting hero. She is always going to go for defenses, so sometimes you may need to clear out one or two with balloons or or rocket loons, sorry, to try and just help funnel her, because we don't want her to go the wrong way, and we definitely want to try and maximize the amount of value she is getting. But ideally we're looking to push her in towards that town hall if possible. Unfortunately on this charge I don't think we're going to quite be able to get that far, so what we're looking to do here is a few objectives. The first of all being trying to get in and dealing with those air sweepers. Those air sweepers can be pretty problematic, especially when you're coming in with dragons, super dragons, Lalo, anything like that. So of course if you can get your royal champion in there to deal with them, that's going to be super beneficial. Down goes the Inferno Tower, which of course, like I said previously, is another key objective. Taking down those Inferno Towers is always going to benefit you. We are potentially looking for a lure on the clan castle troops as well, which we do manage, and of course we have the Phoenix pet on our royal champion as well, so even after she goes down we're still going to be able to get just a little bit more value from her. Next up we're going to be coming in with the rest of that funnel, of course king and siege barracks, this time joining up forces and coming in together. Ice Golem going to be going out in front in this one as well, and once we have started to create and finish that funnel over here towards this right hand side, we can get the rest of our dragons pushing on through from this left. So there's a few things to keep in mind here. Typically you're going to be charging your royal champion into the core of the base. You're then going to be using your king and siege barracks or blimp to clear out one of the other sections, and then your dragons are going to kind of have this L shape as such, if you want to call it that, to finish off the rest of the base. Remember, it is still important to try and funnel your dragons if you can, so typically you're going to want to deploy one or two towards the outside here like we have, just to try and maximize the funnel value. We don't want our dragons to all go around the outside, we still want some to progress slightly further into the base like we have here, moving through onto that town hall, freezing up key defenses like we have the monolith and air defense here, just trying to mitigate the amount of damage we are taking as we progress through the base. Timing that Grand Warden ability always really important. Typically you're going to use it on those really heavy sections of the base, so like we had there, we had the town hall, the monolith, the air defenses, we had Teslas popping, there was just all sorts coming through in that town hall compartment, so it was very important. We tried just to maximize the amount of value we were getting from that Grand Warden ability. But you'll see we still even have some wizards left over from that siege barracks at the start, the Yeti coming out there as well, and this one absolute overkill, smashing through the back end of this one, getting a huge amount of value from that royal champion charge at the start, meant that the rest of this was pretty easy for those dragons. And that third and final example we have actually kicking straight off into this one with that royal champion charge, again just trying to time the spell placement on this one. Now this is a really good example of the royal champion potentially not going to plan. Sometimes she will not go the way you want her to. So we're going to be using some rocket loons on the outside here, like I said, using them to try and funnel your royal champion in a direction that you want her to go. But this time she ends up walking to the outside of the base, and we are looking for her to go towards this monolith. That's one of the key defenses we're looking for her to take down. So we do end up actually using another invisibility spell here, not to deal with those defenses, but to push her back towards those key defenses that we want her to take down. So don't be too scared to sacrifice, like we did there, some of those invisibility spells if you think you're going to be able to get more value elsewhere, which is exactly what we end up doing here. We actually end up going all the way through and dealing with a scatter shot there on the back end, which is absolutely beautiful, and the value we get there from that royal champion charge is pretty amazing. Yes, this time we don't get that town hall down, but but it's not the end of the world because we were still able to get a good amount of value there from our Royal Champion regardless of whether we got that Town Hall or not. Coming in with that next portion of the attack, again, open wall compartments means only one thing, that is of course siege barracks. Like I said, if you have closed wall compartments, typically you're going to be coming in with that Yeti blimp, but don't worry, if you have open wall compartments, you come in with that siege barracks and you're probably going to be getting even more value. So let them do their thing, and then we're going to be coming in with our dragons. Again, creating that funnel, clearing out some of those outer buildings, and then we can go ahead and push the rest of our dragons right through into the core of the base. Now we do only have one rage spell in this attack as well as one freeze, so typically you're going to try and use that rage spell when you're coming into that heaviest portion of the base. Sometimes it's really good to combine it with the Grand Warden ability as well, though we don't want to rage the dragons away from that healing tome. Very, very important. We always make sure we try to get as many troops in that healing and eternal tome as we possibly can. In this particular attack, it does look like the Town Hall is going to be one of the last buildings left up, but do not fear, we have plenty left up here, plenty of dragons. We even have our king still going strong, having looped pretty much all the way around this base. But this strategy, honestly, is really, really fun to use. The Royal Champion charge itself is really versatile. You don't just need to use it with dragons, you can use it with multiple other troops as well. So it's definitely a strategy I would recommend trying. Try to master that Royal Champion charge, because the chances are as you progress up those town halls you're going to be using it even more. But if you guys did enjoy this video, I'd really appreciate it if you could go ahead and leave a like on it. Subscribe to us here at the Barracks as well if you haven't already, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.